exciting. Well, today we have got a very exciting show for you. I'm going to flip my camera around here real fast so you can see me better. We have got Jill Wiseman with us today.
Hi, guys. I'm really excited to be here.
Hi, Jill. I'm so excited to have you guys here. It's really been a long time since I've even gotten to just see your face.
I know,
Right?
that's the hardest thing is you want to sit and chat with your friends and we can't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about this is you're my first Zoom. And so you're teaching me the ropes with this, but also just that I get to sit and hang with you guys.
Yeah, I found when we did it, well, just Kristen and I alone, it's super fun because I miss being with Kristen, especially living in California now. I don't see her nearly as often. She's one of my best friends as well as my coworker. But
I know we
getting to
used
do
to
it with
have some really
good
nice
beading
coffee
parties.
dates.
Yeah. So it's been sad missing her. And then when we threw Andrew in the mix last month, that was extra exciting because I usually would see him at a bead show and I just miss him so much. So I was like, I really am going to start reaching out to all of my favorite people and see if they will come bead with me. And then I have one more thing to look forward to every month.
Exactly, and beading is always a great excuse to get together with your friends. So
It is. Yeah, I talk about it all the time how amazing beading is because people do it all over the world in all different languages, in all different mediums. And it's one of those things that's just so amazing because it's small enough that almost anyone can do it and be exposed to it because you can make almost anything into a bead. But it just it brings people together in a way that's so unique and special.
I definitely think that. I've been saying for years and years now that beading is so much more than just beading. Beading is community, and that's such a huge part of it is getting together with people who enjoy the same things as you. And beaters are just generally really nice people, which I'm like, where are all the really creepy beaters? Because I never meet them. There's got to be some out there, but they're not allowed in my space.
No, totally. They're a fun bunch for sure, and a little
Yeah.
silly and a bit wacky and all sorts of good times.
And the friendships, they cross, international boundaries and they cross age boundaries. One of my very favorite bead friends that I made when I met her, she was 72 years old. And we became so close, we called each other sisters. Slight age difference between the sisters. She's passed on now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also had beading friends who were 18, so but because we all come together over the same shared medium, somehow those friendships work. So I think it's super cool.
It's really neat.
I love that.
It's really lovely. Yeah. It's
So,
such a great hobby.
For sure.
It is.
And then you get something useful out of it too, something that you can wear and you can dress yourself up.
Right. We are, what do they call the workers or essential workers?
Yes. Well, yes. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Essentially
bring in joy.
The thing is that in addition to community, it's also therapy. And let's face it, a lot of us have needed therapy over the last 6 months as we've gone through this pandemic. And I've really seen that expressed on like Facebook. I'm seeing a lot more people talk within the bead groups on Facebook because they need that outlet. And I also have seen it just in my store. My sales have gone through the roof because people are stuck at home and they're looking for something to do, and beading brings them a calmness, that is really important.
And
and like I said, it's oh, go ahead, Kristen.
It's definitely a time to really enjoy your hobbies and do the things that make you happy and make you calm because, we're all stuck at home. And what better way to really enjoy that time than to do something creative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's something almost anyone can do. I mean, you only need like a few basic tools and you can really get started and then you can grow your repertoire, as you get going. But it's not like it's a huge investment like some hobbies can be, for sure.
Right.
That
Although
helps too.
you 15 years in, you can get there.
That's true.
Because
Yeah,
you start being
we did this.
exposed to new and cool things, and you're like, "Ooh, I need that. I need that."
We did this beading blog recently. I don't know if you saw it, Jill, but it was about organizing your bead space. And Thomas did a call on our VIB group to see what people's bead spaces looked like.
Oh, man.
And we were astonished by A, how organized people are, but B, how many different kinds of things they had in their stash and the beautiful spaces that they created. It was really, really neat to see. So it's a fun blog to read too.
Absolutely. That's another thing that I've always said is that organizing is half of beading. We're all crazy organizers because do I do it by color? Do I do it by number? Do I do it by bead type category? Do I do it by shape? And
right.
And the great thing about organizing your beads is that you are touching and fondling them. It's like rediscovering them every time. So I recently went back into my own personal stash for something, and I found pearls that I bought 15 years ago, like these gorgeous freshwater pearls that I bought back when they were like $2 a strand, and I'm just like, and now those same pearls would be $15 a strand.
Right.
So first of all, hello, look at all that money I made off those pearls, hypothetically. And then it was like buying them all over again because I'd forgotten they were there, and I was so excited to find them.
Yeah. Earlier this year, speaking of the COVID-19 pandemic, we did a thing on our VIB group called, what was it? Joy to Beading, or what was it, Kristen?
Joyful Beading.
Joyful Beading. That's what it was. And we had beading prompts every day. And one of the prompts was to take something you had bought a long time ago and use it in a design. And so I opened up my beading box and I was like, holy smokes, I've got some incredible stuff in here. Why am I just sitting on this?
That was one of my very favorite prompts. So it was like, make something with special beads that you have in your stash. And I loved seeing what people made, and I loved hearing the stories because everyone had a story of why they bought it or when they bought it or why it was special to them. And I thought that was just the coolest.
I love that. I want to do that myself. I think that is very cool. And yeah, every bead does have a story. I mean, there were the, emotions when you saw it, when you bought it, why you bought it,
where you
bought it, who you were with when you bought it. So but then you said, why am I holding on to all this? I think for me, it's because I want to do something really special with it. Like it can't be just anything. It needs to be really something amazing. And so I kind of, I
sit with it.
Yeah, I sit with it and I freak myself out thinking I'm going to do something wrong with it, which of course you can't do anything wrong with beads, right? So recently I decided that I'm going to stop doing that and I'm just going to make something because as we all know, one of the joys of being able to do this yourself, you don't like it, you cut it apart and you do something else with it.
Do it again. Yes.
I mean, those beads are still good. They're not going to go bad on you or anything. So
that might have been one of our prompts too.
Yeah.
Cut up something you don't like that much.
Redo it. Yeah. I don't think that was
before and after. A before and after.
Take a note.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, we have a lot of people on here with us. Let's see. And there's a bunch of comments. So let me take a moment to just sort of go through. We've got 150 people watching. So hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Kristen Fagan with Softflex Company, and we're here with Sarah Ayler with Softflex Company and Jill Wiseman of Jill Wiseman Designs. We've got M. Jane here saying beaders are laid back and friendly bunch. You guys certainly are. Thomas is here. Carol and Lydia. Sharon says it's definitely essentially fabulous and therapeutic to bead. Chrissy says very true. She finds it calms her. Hi, Kimberly. Becky needs someone here to bead with to help get her motivated. She stopped beading months ago and can't get herself started again.
Oh,
Oh, Becky, I
no.
hope we can help motivate you today. It's
Yeah.
fun to bead with friends and kind of get you going again.
For sure.
Let's see. MJ's bead collection has led to a bead store. Oh, wow. That's
Oh,
amazing.
Sounds familiar.
that
I was
happened.
going to say, Jill, I think your collection went into a bead store too. Deborah just got into jewelry making because of COVID, and we are been so helpful to her. It's calming and relaxing, and she absolutely loves it. That is fantastic
That's
to hear,
great
Deborah.
to hear.
Beginners are my favorite.
Welcome to the beading.
Me too.
Welcome to our world. You are
Yeah.
one of us
I
now.
Totally.
It's a great place to be. Oh, Thomas shared the 40 tips to organize and clean. Let's see what else.
Thanks,
Oh my
Thomas.
gosh, there's so many. Nilay's here of Silver
Nilay.
Silk. Hi, Nilay.
Oh, our favorite buddy.
Yeah.
We have a Zoom with him next week.
Yes, we do.
Well, Jill and
you do
Nilay
too.
and I have a private Zoom, yeah. Which we should record.
Great to see.
Probably.
Well, but then we might have to edit ourselves.
Same. Yeah, not the same. Yeah. So, for those who don't know who you are, Jill, which they must be living under a rock or be brand new to beading, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started your business, and kind of where your business is at now? And that'll give them kind of an overall view of who Jill Wiseman is.
Who Jill Wiseman is. Well, I've been beading for 15 years now. I first discovered beads back actually at a quilt show. It was the Houston International Quilt Show, and they had an aisle called Embellishments, and the entire aisle was beads, and I was just like hyperventilating. I was so excited because of all of these beads. And so I bought my very first beads that day, and I even still have the receipt from what I bought, and it's framed in my office.
That's a framer. I was going to say that.
Yep, I did.
Oh, I love that.
It's so cool. And I don't have any idea what I bought other than that was seed beads and that I have really good taste because they were like $23 a tube, and that was 15 years ago. I didn't go for the $2 tube, you know.
Wow.
And
you jumped in.
I jumped right in
first. Yeah.
So I tried and failed to learn seed bead weaving, which was what I was exposed to, that I was really fascinated about on my own, and I completely failed. So I went and found the local bead store in Austin. At that time, there was a bead store in Austin called Nomadic Notions, and they had 2 locations here in Austin and several locations around the country. And of course, as the way things go, all those places are closed down now. But I went in there and I started taking every single class that they offered. And they offered classes every night and twice on Saturdays and sometimes on Sundays. And so I learned stringing, and I learned looming, and I learned wire work, and I learned bead weaving. And it gave me, and I just absorbed it like a sponge. And I knew that I was in love, you know, right off the bat. And I was working a full-time job back then, and I would be at work, and I wanted to bead so badly that I'd practically be in tears at my
What was your
job.
full-time job?
I was an administrative assistant at a high-tech company. I worked for the software marketing department, and in hindsight, it was a perfect training ground for what I do now, because running a business, because I was doing accounting stuff, and I was doing marketing stuff, and I was doing travel and logistics planning and all the stuff that I do as a business owner. Little did I know that I was in training for this. But about 4 years after I discovered beads, I decided that I loved it too much to be in high tech. And so I quit my day job. And my plan was that I was going to sell other people's bead kits and designs at like the regional bead shows. And after I did my first regional bead show, and I was so excited, I'd made so much money. And I went back and I did all the accounting, and I realized that the designer had made more money sitting at home than I had made doing everything, you know, all the bits and pieces myself. And that's what convinced me to become a designer. So I could sell my own designs. I started working part-time at that local bead store. They convinced me to try to teach some classes. Turned out I was good at that. I was so terrified that first class. I swear you could have heard my knees knocking. But it turns out
You're
I
an
was good.
amazing teacher.
I just didn't think I was going to.
Funny?
Yeah, I really had no confidence in myself whatsoever that was going to be the case. But it was clear pretty soon that I was. And of course, get better over time too at that kind of thing. So then I started applying to teach at national shows. I got accepted. I sent in some designs to Bead and Button magazine that got accepted. So I was published in the magazines, and over time, I just grew and grew nationally my reputation. And so it got to be where bead stores around the country started to ask me to come teach classes. So I would, for about 4 years, my full-time job was traveling around the country and teaching classes at various places. But that was really
fun.
It's super fun because you get a new group of people all the time. The downside is all the traveling. And that part's hard. Not as hard. So, I mean, there were times when I would literally, I'd fly out on a Thursday, I'd teach Friday, Saturday, Sunday, fly home Monday, throw everything in the laundry out of my suitcase, put it right back in when it was clean. I had 2 days to turn around and I'd fly out again on Thursday again. So it just got to be a grind a little bit. And that's when I had the brilliant idea to start the YouTube channel. And so I started my YouTube channel 7 years ago.
Which was absolutely a brilliant idea, obviously.
I lucked into it. The reason the idea came to me was because I was trying to teach myself how to do knitting. I wanted a hobby that wasn't my job. And so I started looking around at all the YouTube channels teaching knitting, and I found one that I really liked. She had good lighting. She had really good close-ups of the hands and that kind of thing. And so when I started thinking about doing it myself, I'm like, well, I don't really have time to do editing and figure out all this technology and that kind of thing.
Right.
I really kind of want somebody to do it for me. So going into this was Stacey Perry from Very Pink Knits. And she's from Austin, which is where I am from. I mean, of all the YouTube channels out there. And then also she had a reference to a production company. So I contacted the production company, told them what I wanted to do. And within a week, we'd signed a contract and started the channel. And it's been 7 years in October.
How many subscribers do you have now?
I'm up to about 160,000, I think.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
And
that's amazing.
That is truly amazing.
Yeah, it just goes to show that there's this desire out there for beading content. And part of the reason my channel has been so successful has been because I'm able to give really nice close-up of the hand view.
Your videos are beautiful.
Yeah, so making the deal with the production company was totally worth it. They're fabulous. They're worth every dollar that I pay them. And also because then I don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about all the technology and the lighting and everything. That's very tricky and does make the videos just so spectacular.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted, is I wanted something professional looking. I didn't want it to look like, you see those videos out there where somebody's doing it over their sink and their nail polish is half on and half off, and you've got the soap opera on high volume in the background. You know the videos I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be that one.
Right. No, if you haven't checked out Jill's YouTube channel, then you really need to do that and go subscribe. And I assume you would just search for Jill Wiseman Designs on YouTube, and a billion videos would come up.
So we have somebody in the chat here saying that since quarantine, she's got into making Christmas ornaments, and she's made a few of Jill's designs: the diagonal peyote ornament, the pretty posies, and the starry night.
That's fabulous. I'm due to make some new Christmas ornaments too. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I need to be doing it now so that I'm ready for Christmas time.
You can get your pad of paper out and take notes during this.
That's right.
Get feedback from all your fans here.
That's right.
Yes.
Anything else, Kristen, that you wanted to point out from the comments?
Well, we've got Sharon replying to Fran saying, agreed, she's learned so much from watching her channel, talking about you, Jill. And Yvette, I love you, Jill. She's the old sales rep from Beadsmith and loves all of us. Sheesh is also a Jill Wiseman YouTube follower. Bridget was sure to check you out.
Great.
Sharon's been following for a long time. And Thomas just shared the link. So thank you, Thomas.
Yes, very much. Thank you. Most of my stuff on YouTube focuses on bead weaving. So it's needle and thread in your hand, but not all of it. And one of the things that I'm so excited to have the studio now is I'm going to be able to do videos faster than I have been in the past. And so I want to do some wire working and some stringing and some, just kind of broaden the spectrum of what I'm doing. I'm not going to, let my bead weavers down because that's my first love. But one of the things that I was excited about doing design with your kit, the Serenity Shores kit, is that I could pull some bead weaving into stringing.
I know. So what ended up happening with that, Jill?
So I've made a couple of beaded beads. They're really super beginner friendly sample beaded beads. Let me kind of show you what I've got here. I'm going to tilt the camera down a little bit so you can see my space, but I'm going to bring this up so you can see this is a little beaded bead
so cute
with Superduos. And then you've got the hole right there.
Oh, that's like
adorable.
That's my speed for bead weaving.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anybody can do this. I promise you, anybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it done before our Facebook Live today, but I'm going to do a simple video immediately afterwards showing people how to make that. And so I will post it and I will tag you guys so it'll show up on your place too. This is the exact same beaded bead, just done with a slightly different kind of bead. This is called a crescent bead. And so it kind of gives almost like a pumpkin shape or a sea urchin shape, since we're going with the sea theme. And just to kind of show you, this is the shape.
Ooh, I like that. What's the name of that shape?
That is a crescent bead. It's a 2-hole crescent bead.
So I haven't used that one before.
You can use it in bead weaving, but obviously you can use it in stringing too. There's no reason why not.
Right.
So yeah, so I thought I would do some simple beaded beads to bring in with whatever goodness is in this package.
Yeah. So before we open the package, I just want to make sure we're clear. I the other day, like a couple weeks ago, I was opining about how sad I am about Fusion Beads closing down because I often would buy seed beads from them. And I don't buy a lot of seed beads. I am a stringer, so I do tend to buy bigger, bulkier beads, but I do like seed beads too. So I mentioned on the video, I'd probably turn to Jill Wiseman Designs now for seed beads. So can you give us an overview of all the different kinds of seed beads that you carry? You carry a lot of the special shapes and things, right?
I do. So I carry just tubes of beads. So like I had just grabbed a selection of beads that I thought might go with this palette.
Guessing by the name.
Yes, exactly. Heck, I even wore something that I felt was like beachy.
Kristen, there you go again. Kristen always says she matches what she's going to do in the video that day.
Yes.
I
picked beach themed jewelry,
Yeah,
totally
I'm wearing my beach necklace. Yeah.
I'm wearing, I've got recycled glass on, the Roman glass.
Oh,
and all
I love the Roman glass.
With the little sea glass effect. I think even now with the pandemic, I'm like up to my game even more with this because I thought about it a little bit before, but now I'm not going anywhere. So this is
like more time to think about it.
In the world.
Yeah.
So funny. So yeah, so I sell tubes of seed beads. So like size 8s, I've got
perfect.
I size 11s. I have size 15s. We are actually in the process of expanding our selection of colors with all of those. We just added 40 new colors in the last couple of weeks. And so every time I'm ordering new seed beads, I'm going to add more colors in so that I can.
And you test your seed beads for their coating. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's so important.
It really is. One of the things that absolutely drives me crazy is when you make a beautiful piece and that coating comes off. Yeah.
It's
You're
awful.
so disappointed. And you know, the thing is, so there's testing, but I can't test for every eventuality, you know.
Sure.
Somebody emailed me the other day and said, well, I was wearing a bracelet that I've been wearing a lot. She says, but it was a ring. It was actually a ring that she had done with seed beads. And wherever she had gone, she had to use hand sanitizer to go into the store. And then
that's hard.
and the finished coating came off the beads all of a sudden, and she wanted to know if that was the problem. And I'm like, yeah, you know,
The alcohol,
yeah, you're exposing it to a chemical that it's normally not exposed to. And so your only safe bet in a case like that is to take the ring off, do the hand sanitizer, and then wash your hands, because even after you put it on, well, now it's on your skin, so now you don't want to expose those beads to your skin again until it's clean. So there are some common sense things that you have to do, and number one is not expose it to chemicals, but also your own personal chemistry can make a difference on a seed bead coating. One of the reasons I do test is because I tend to have very acidic skin. So if something is going to turn or come off, I'm the one who's usually going to make, usually. I've had ones that I'm okay with that other people aren't. You know, we do the best that we can is basically what it boils down to.
There's nothing harder, especially if you're doing a really complex seed bead project. I can't imagine there'd be anything worse than having the color just disappear off of it. That's a really hard, or I mean, breaking altogether would probably be, you know, the second problem. But yeah, that would be just really hard.
Well, and one of the things that we did recently with Delicas is a specific kind of seed bead. It's like a cylinder type bead, and there are 1,252 colors of Delicas in the size 11 size. I have just this week launched that we now carry every single one of those 1,252 colors.
Wow, that's amazing!
It's super exciting.
Oh my gosh!
It was an investment, But a lot of people are really being interested in doing like the flat peyote bracelets, and they use lots of different Delica colors, and being able to get all your beads from one supplier so you pay one shipping charge is big. So I decided to do that. And what we did at the same time is we added in the manufacturer's color durability warning on all of those beads.
Smart.
It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, because some of those beads, you know, they may fade in sunlight. So when you store your necklaces or bracelets or whatever, you just need to make sure it's out of light. Other things, friction may cause a problem, but they're fine. Like if they're used in a wall hanging, it's not going to be something that you're wearing and it's going to abrade against your skin every day. So we were able to add all those warnings up on the website, and we're one of the few websites that has all those warnings up there.
So are those from Toho? Are they Miyuki? Who does all the Delicas? Miyuki.
Delicas come from Miyuki.
I like Delicas. They're a nice size. They're really, and they're so uniform, like perfectly shaped. What size are they? Like a 12? They're smaller than an 11.
Well, they say that they're an 11, but they're wide. So they're more like a Toho 11 has a width to it. Miyuki 11 is skinnier. So they're a little bit more like a Toho 11, but they will also have bigger holes than an average seed bead,
which is great.
Yeah,
especially if you do bead weaving with beading wire.
For sure.
You need that
great. For sure. Well, Jill has our latest kit that we just revealed last week. It's our Serenity Shore Design Kit. And it is no longer for sale. It's sold out. We do a limited quantity run of our kits every month, and it's a new theme every month. So right now we have the Spice Market design kit available with a complimentary strand that you can buy separately. And I think we're like 70% sold out, maybe 75% sold out on it. So we have just a small number left this week to sell. So if you like what you see in the Serenity Design Kit, the Spice Market is similar. It will have different surprises and a different color scheme, but it'll generally have the same kind of items that Jill is going to show when she opens up her Serenity Shores Design Kit.
Do I get to do that now?
Open
It's like
it.
I'm
Yeah.
like it's like Christmas morning.
Come on.
I would also like to point out. I notice how my bead board matches the color theme today too. Actually,
You sell those
You're
bead boards,
taking it
right?
another
I do
step
sell
even
these.
further.
I've
I
always
like that.
wanted one of those. They look really nice.
They're wonderful because you can pick the whole thing up and move it around, and
Oh,
your whole
that's
project
nice.
goes with you. And if you're
That's
like
a
me,
good
you might
size
have.
one too. You have, Jill. That
Yeah,
one's
this
pretty
is the
large.
big mama. This is 11 by 17. Um, but one of the great things about it too is that if you're like me and you have more than one project at a time, they stack really nicely too. I might have like 40 of them. I mean, seriously, I have 40. Ooh, look at these colors. This
So
is,
in
go
our
ahead.
design kits, we try to put a little bit of everything. So even a beginner could pick it up and start beading.
Oh, for sure.
And it's mostly bead stringing. So we usually have beading wire, craft wire in it, but it'll have your crimps, it'll have clasps, it'll have ear wires, and then it'll have a ton of really awesome beads.
Which means that you can make a bunch of projects using this. I mean, you've got at least 4 to 5 projects in one of these kits, which is just
At
amazing.
least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you've got the clasp, several pairs of ear wires here. This is fabulous. This is super fun, and
Yeah, and you can pick up more ear wires and clasps and make tons of stuff for sure.
ooh, and then look at all the goodies. This is one of the things about beads that amazes me is the whole range of shapes. And oh my god, look at these little tiny tassels.
Aren't
Look
they
at this
cute?
tassel. It's so tiny. It's so
It's
cute.
so
Oh
cute.
my.
I know. I haven't used those yet from my kit.
Well, see, and as a bead weaver, I immediately look at this and I think that I want to brick stitch beads around the edge of it.
Ooh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used that as a connector too, but I strung around it. I'll show you what I made when you're all
Oh,
done going
okay,
through it.
cool. Yeah, so immediately, I love all the little charms too. This turtle is just to die for. Oh, and he's a bead. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
he is really, really
So
cute. Let me show.
cute.
Yeah,
Oh,
super,
look at
super
him.
cute. Um, when I was working at our local bead store, one of the things that we had a design class that taught you how to do design with stringing. And one of the things that they said is that you want to do a mixture of materials. Like if you do all shiny, everything is going to just kind of bling itself
Mm-hmm.
out. It's just too much. So what you want to do is do things that are maybe shiny and then bring in some, other colors, some matte. Bringing in metal was a big part of it. So I love that you've got like the metal um, bead cap here, which will be so perfect for setting off some of these bigger beads. And then bringing in the tassels brings in a whole texture. I'm going to bring in some matte with my beaded beads. So then you've got
Mm-hmm.
the shiny and the matte, and you've got the metal, and you've got the tassels, and that makes a really much more sophisticated design when you're mixing all of those kinds of things.
That's a really, really good point. We at Southflex feel like we are an entry point for a lot of beaters.
Mm-hmm.
And so these kits, I think we've really thought about it in that way of like being able to not only inspire people that have been beading for years and years and years, just to have like a monthly challenge with maybe colors they don't normally use or shapes they don't normally use, but also just to get brand new people started with beading without it being so complicated and difficult, to get just the basic supplies that you need
For
to
sure.
to bead. So every month when the kit comes out, I reveal it on our Softflix Company Facebook page, and I do a project, at least one project, sometimes two. And then over the weekend on YouTube, we do another project also revealing the kit. So last week, I made this fun bracelet using the parts and pieces from the Serenity Shore design kit. And I also used that as a connector in the center That was my first
That's
thought
great.
too. It's actually a bead. It has a hole in it.
Oh, it does.
But I didn't even know when I started. Somebody else pointed that out to me. So I could have beaded through the center, but I kind of like the idea of connecting it with the beading wire. But I love the idea of did you say brick stitch?
Yeah, brick
A
stitch
brick
around
bead
it.
stitch. Oh, that'd be so pretty.
And the
Stunning.
thread, you're going to use thread to do that, and the thread will show across the mother of pearl, so it'll have a really interesting effect because you'll have lines of thread around it. So,
what's your favorite kind of beading thread, Jill? Since I don't do a lot of seed beading, I'm totally curious.
The thing that most people use these days is actually Fireline, which is a it's a what am I saying, fishing line. There are positives and negatives to it, but it's one of the positives is that it's really strong and it holds up really well. The negative is it doesn't come in a lot of colors. So if I'm going to actual thread, which is what I would do for this component, I would actually use thread because I'd want to kind of color match it. I wouldn't want it just to be gray,
What kind of thread would you use in that case?
So I would use 1G thread. It comes in about 24 colors now. And so that would give you a nice range. And you can either choose to, you could choose something like a cream and have it fade into the background so you weren't seeing the thread. Or I would more likely choose something that's going to pop against this as a design element because I think that having those lines in there would be really interesting.
Pretty.
And
I love that.
That's the joy of using thread is that you can
color match.
You can make it a design element as opposed to just something functional.
Why don't they make Fireline in more than just like 3 colors?
Because it's because it's for fishers and fishers don't care if they've got purple
get it together.
Thread.
There's beaders too.
I know. And we're a significant part of their business.
You would think so. Yeah, that would be a great expansion. Maybe as COVID goes on and the fishing and beading industry continue to grow.
Yeah.
I imagine fishing is growing too at an abnormal pace.
I had noticed on Amazon earlier today, I was checking on an order and up in the upper corner, it had a new button that said hobby shop. And I thought that was really interesting that is such a huge seller point for them during the pandemic that they have created a whole special
section.
Yeah, shortcut to it.
So I also made these earrings last week on Facebook Live to match it. And then on Saturday, I had a YouTube video post. And I have a new YouTube video every Saturday morning on our Softworks Company channel.
Show off.
And I made this little, well, mine are not as well lit and carefully curated as yours are, Jill. Okay. I'm a little more off the cuff. So. Definitely,
anyway.
If anyone's a show off, I don't think it would be me.
What you saying?
I'm saying you're amazing. Your videos are amazing.
We have a question for Jill. Kimberly is asking, do you ever use the Miyuki beading thread?
That is one that I have not tried yet. I need to order myself some and try that. I have used most threads at this point. There are threads for everything. So like there's Nozu Sunoco thread that has a little bit of stretch to it, which can be really nice if you're making a bangle that has to fit over your hand. You can make it a little smaller so that it's not too oversized. So that's one of the reasons Nozu Sunoco is a good thing. There's a brand called Hannah thread that is really color durable. It's a nice strong thread. It was actually made by somebody who used to make upholstery threads for a living, and when she decided to become a beader, she was like, I can make a beading thread. And so that's where Hannah thread came from. But there's a lot of threads out there, and so I really recommend trying a little bit of everything to see what you like best. I can tell you what I like best, but the reasons I like it might be different than the reasons you're looking for beading threads. So testing is really your friend.
That makes a lot of sense. Any other questions, Kristen, while You've got the.
We have another one from Sharon
attention.
asking about Wildfire, Ceylon, and Eflon. But again, those are different types of threads. Correct?
Yeah.
Those are different companies.
Right.
Angie's asking, between Nymo and 1G, which one do you feel is better for fringe making?
I think 1G is way better than Nymo. Let me just tell you, I learned on Nymo, but Nymo tends to shred really badly. So Nymo is usually the last choice thread that I would ever use. So 1G.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really just know so little about bead weaving because it's just has not been a real big part of my beading experience.
Yeah,
so it's
I know
always
a lot
fun
of
to hear.
esoteric information.
I bet you do, but that's good.
When we do some bead weaving, Sarah and I, we tend to go to like soft touch, and use one of those.
Well, yeah,
the very
right.
the very fine, or even the fine at times. So that's the extent of it. We don't really move into the threads very often.
Well, I was actually thinking about that, and I just didn't have time to do it. But with these little beaded beads, you totally could have used the soft touch on this, the 0.010. As a matter of fact, I had
cool.
Yeah, and you would just, instead of one
maybe
of these
I'll
seed
do
beads,
it. I'll watch your video and then do it with soft touch.
That would be great. I sent somebody to using soft touch just recently, in the last day or so within my group. They were asking what would be the best, soft flex product to use for XYZ, and I'm like, 0.010 is your friend.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, we
yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, our very fine is pretty nice. Also, sometimes I use the fine if I'm doing like a Russian spiral, but that's as complex as I've ever gotten with bead weaving. And that's pretty not complex, really.
But that's one of the things that's so cool about using the soft touch is that, like, you don't even have to deal with a needle usually. The end is got enough stiffness to it that you can do it just using that. So for beginners, it can be a lifesaver, or if you have vision issues, which of course a lot of us do. As I'm sitting here thinking I need to go get my glasses on here. So, oh goodness. I actually had a couple of people ask a couple questions about soft flex on my page when I was posting about this. And
nice.
So let me ask you a question, because I didn't know the answer to this.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure. She asked, does soft flex degrade over time? She's got some 10-year-old soft flex. Good answer.
Yeah, not that we know of, not that I've seen. I have spools that I've had since I started with soft flex like 20 years ago, where I got like 100-foot spool, and it's a color that I just haven't used enough of, or I've been replenished with a new label, and so I haven't used that spool in a video. And the wire is just fine. Yeah, the color is permanent and stays on. The only time you see any problems is if you've got a really abrasive bead that is spinning on the wire, it may cut through the nylon a little bit, and then that's where you might get a little bit of an issue. Or sometimes beads will have junk inside of them if they're not cleaned out properly, and that can spin on the wire and discolor it a little bit. But otherwise, it's amazing. Like, it really lasts forever.
That's one of the things. I've got so much soft flex over the years, and because you can never find it when you want to use it, so you go and buy another spool.
So you buy more,
and the next thing you know, you've got a whole drawer of just soft flex. And of course, they make it even harder, because now, when I first started beading 15 years ago, y'all didn't make colors, but now you make the beautiful colored soft flex, and
so you have to add to your
because now I've got to have colors in all the different diameters too, because now, and I mean, I have to tell you, kudos to you guys for doing that, because that like changed stringing when you guys started doing that, because all of a sudden now the beading wire can be exposed and not be icky. So
we had some colors originally, but they were all like these really not fun primary colors. And I remember talking to a glass artist friend of mine named Andrew, and he was telling me about this glass. He's a glass bead artist. He's telling me about this glass company that had added all these colors and how it had changed his ability to make beads in a totally new way because he had all these new color options. And this light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, we need more colors, and we need colors that make sense, like maybe fire engine red doesn't totally always make sense. Like maybe we need a soft, beautiful fluorite green and, a really beautiful turquoise but yeah, so we added a bunch of new colors, and then when you intermix them all, I think it's really fun, and it helps your design dramatically.
Definitely.
So how's it going over there on your end, Jill? I'm working a little bit on something too.
Can you see this? So far, I'm making a big mess.
I love it. That's what beading's about.
It really is. This is where you get the ideas of something sits next to something, and you're like, oh, wait, yeah. I actually had gone ahead and crimped one side of my beading wire, and then I just cut it off because I realized I wanted to do a centered design. And so it's better to do that when you've got the two loose ends so you can work from both ends. So now I'm back to ground zero. Okay. But that's okay. Because I'm figuring it out as I go along here.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to finish something today on the show. You can always post it later, and that's no problem. I'm working with our new ammonite beads. We just added these when we did the Serenity Shore design kit as just like another option. So we have them in 4 colors, and I just ordered more. So if you were worried we were going to run out of them, I ordered some more. And of course, I ordered them from our friend John.
I love our friend John.
Of course. Yeah, I love our friend John too.
Traveled the world with our friend John.
Yeah. Will you tell us a little bit about some of these amazing trips you've gone on? Are you so sad to not go anywhere this year?
Yes. We were supposed to go to the Czech Republic at the beginning of October. And we just decided to cancel that because right now, U.S. people can't even get into the EU, so we couldn't we couldn't be sure that was going to be lifted by the time of the trip. Also, things like the bus company there was not accepting any new gigs through the end of the year, so it just wasn't meant to be. But I've gone to the Czech Republic with a group of people. I'm the guest artist, and so we bring a group of beaders, and John has friends inside all these factories and locations in the Czech Republic because he's been traveling there for 20 years. And so he gets us in so that we can actually see the beads being made, which
is amazing.
Oh my gosh, it is so eye-opening because we're used to US factories, and we've got OSHA, and we've got all these rules and regulations. They don't have that in the Czech Republic, I tell this story about at one point we're looking at this pressed beads machine that is probably like 80 years old. They don't make the machines anymore, so they have to rip apart an old one for parts if they're going to repair it. But the big glass rods that are like this thick go into the top, and there's a furnace, a fire, and it's open. And so you can look, if you get high enough, you can look down into it and see all the molten glass inside. And then at the bottom, you see the glass coming out in a stream, in a river of molten glass. And then it gets pressed in a press, and then it pops out the bottom, and there's your bead. It's like magic. But the gentleman was being so nice. He said, there was a little step stool right there next to the machine. He says, do you want to get up and look inside? And I said, sure. And so I step on the step stool, and y'all, I think that step stool was made in 1889. And, and I stepped on that step stool, and it started wiggling back and forth. And it had a dip in the center where, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have stepped on this. And I'm standing up on this rickety 3-step looking down into molten glass, and I'm thinking, This is it.
This
This
is
is how
how
I'm
it
going to
ends.
die.
Oh my God.
Yep. This is how I'm going to die.
going to
Face
that.
first into the molten glass. I'm going to become a pressed bead.
There are worse ways to go.
That's kind of what I
Oh my
decided. I was like, if
gosh.
it's meant to be, that's just the way it is, you know. But I just have this vivid memory and all the heat turning my face so red because you're so close to this open furnace. And I was just thinking this would be such a no-go in the US. And these are the conditions that, you know, that they're
They
working
work
under.
under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go into, say, there's a area that's where they facet all the fire polish because a fire polish bead has facets on all the sides, and it's a completely manual kind of thing. So they've got all these beads, the round beads, in a tray, and they have to put them one by one on a long strip of basically like little nails sticking up. So they put them all on this tray, and then they insert it into the machine, and then they have to move it a quarter turn each time. And so they're using both their hands, and you know they know, okay, 2 seconds here, move it, 2 seconds here, move it.
Wow.
and
That
and
is
and
amazing.
and it's all this water, and so their hands are all wrinkled, and I'm like, this is how they're standing all day long to make these fire polish beads. And oh my God, I need to spend 5 times more than I do on fire polish beads because they should cost 5 times more given how much work
Intense
goes
it is.
into them.
Labor
Yeah,
intensive it is. Yeah.
it's super
So
eye-opening.
we have Laura Marshall here who said she was on your first trip with you,
She
Jill.
was.
It was
Hi, Laura.
amazing and she wants to go back.
Yes. You know, that's the thing about these trips is, you know, the first trip we had 50 people on it, which was a little on the high side. In the future, we're going to keep it down to 35 or so. But we got along so well, and each one of these groups, we become lifelong friends. And
Aw.
it's so cool because I see people who met on these trips getting together on Facebook. I see them getting together in their regular lives, which is so fun. We have a
That's
private
awesome.
group for everybody who's been on the trip, and so that we can talk about, you know, because nobody understands the experience quite like we did.
Right.
Right.
So
That's
we've done.
very cool to be able to keep that experience going, keep those relationships going, and, you know, just support one another. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very special, and I'm very lucky that I got asked to do this. We also went to China. So last year we did a very small group. We did 12 that we went to China, and that was another completely interesting experience. We spent several days in Hong Kong, and we went to the international gem markets in Hong Kong, where I can't even tell you how many millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of diamonds and sapphires and
Oh,
rubies and pearls I
sounds
saw.
amazing.
It was way beyond my budget, but so worth seeing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we spent several days in Hong Kong, and we do, you know, sightseeing things too. So Hong Kong, and then we went to mainland China, to Guangzhou, China. And in Guangzhou, there is a 7-story mall for wholesale beads.
What?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Every single store in the mall
How much
is
how
beads.
much time did you have to go in this mall?
3
Like,
days.
what did you get? 3
3
days.
days, and
Okay.
it wasn't
That's pretty
enough.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely, you know, and the other thing is it's like a maze too. So I don't know who designed this mall, but it's like little rabbit warrens all over the place. So you would see something and you want to go back the next day and you're like, I have no idea where I was. And so you kind of try to
That's what I
figure
was
that
just
out.
going to say that I would be really worried about, because for me, I would need to like spend the first day looking at everything and then go back and make my decisions. But I have a feeling I wouldn't be able to work that way.
You would need to turn on the GPS tracker and put pins at all the stores. Drop the pin.
Smart. Yes, that would be the way around it.
I wish I had thought of that. So yeah.
Well, you'll know for next time. I'm sure you'll go back sometime.
Yeah. You know, obviously
Someday.
things just aren't conducive to international travel right now, but that's okay. I mean, I still have my
Temporary.
beads on my table. Okay, please do. Oh my God, that would be so fun.
You
Wait,
cannot take Mike. We would get so many beads back. We would not know what to do with ourselves.
We wouldn't know how to handle it. I know.
Not allowed.
And on the next trip, one of the things I was disappointed of with China was that we weren't in any of the pearl areas. And so next trip, we're also going to include a travel to one of the pearls areas so that I can really stock up on pearls because I'm dangerous with pearls.
Oh, pearls are so fun.
Yes.
They're so beautiful. Like, go ahead.
Even Dee is on here saying she thinks that would be dangerous for Mike. We know you, Mike.
Jill, we have these live sales like every 3 weeks where I'm selling, beads from our gallery that we've had for many years, and then some of Mike's private collection. And he gets on there and he tries to buy his beads back.
He doesn't.
No, he really does. He's like, how did this get on here?
Yes, they become our very own little special mementos. I did laugh too on all of my trips. So Czech Republic twice, China once. I also did Italy, but that wasn't a bead trip. I came back with no souvenirs other than beads.
Oh, good for you.
Everything,
that's all you need.
Thing. Yeah, I was like, these beads are all I need to remember my trip. Yeah.
Right, for sure. And you made all those good connections, so you're able to order from overseas now. Is that right?
Yes, although it can be a little tricky.
How are they doing with COVID, like in the Czech Republic?
Well, they had to close down also. And so I'm actually noticing some of my distributors here in the US who their current stock is a little low because, the manufacturers shut down for a while. Now, the good news is actually the Czech Republic in particular did great because they shut down right away. They did masks right away. And so they have opened society back up and they had very low COVID cases. So I'm really happy for them because the Czech people are incredibly nice. I've actually decided that the Czech Republic is probably one of the only places in the world that I actually could envision myself living someday other than the US.
Oh. I would
beautiful.
love to go there with you one of these trips, one of these days.
I really hope you can, because you'd fall in love with the people and you'd certainly fall in love with the country. It's a beautiful country.
And the beads.
And the beads, my God. Yes. Because they have beads there.
So I'm going to do a quick crimping of my bracelet that I made here, and then we'll take a look at what you're working on, and then you're going to post a video of how to make an easy beaded bead after this on your YouTube and Facebook pages, right?
Right. And you'll have to give me a couple hours for that to pop up.
Sure, of course. So I'm just taking a 2x2 millimeter Softlex crimp tube, and I used those really pretty ammonite beads in the jade color. And then I took some of my Czech beads that were in the bead mix in the Serenity Shore design kit. And I'm going to attach one of these really lovely tiara cast toggles. And we have these in all 5 metal tones. You carry some tiara cast too, right?
I carry a lot of tiara cast because they're my friends
they're great.
too. Yeah, I love tiara cast. We were talking about coatings and stuff. That's one of the reasons I love tiara cast. Their platings are pristine. You will never have one go bad on you.
There are neighbors here in Sonoma County. So if you ever come out to visit, you can visit Tiara Cast and Softlex Company at the same time.
Oh my God, that would be dangerous.
And Kate at beadshop.com. And you can visit Brenda at Venetian Bead Shop.
Okay.
Oh gosh, it sounds like you're putting together a nice little party.
I'm telling you.
And we could do videos everywhere. So
we just travel around.
It's going to happen. Boom. I promise.
Someday we'll be able to travel again and do that, which will be really fun. Okay, so I've got my magical crimping pliers, which have a little divot on each side that's identical, and they're perfect with the 2x2 millimeter Softlex crimp tube. I'm going to center my crimp inside of my pliers and compress. The first time I'm going to get what looks like a little 4-corner ravioli. I'm going to turn it on its side and compress, and I'll just go around and around, tightening it down. And so what it does is it pinches the ends of that tube into the nylon coating of the wire. And that gives you a really strong hold, but it also makes it look like a little round metal bead, which is nice. And then you can go in with your cutters and just clip right next to that crimp. And I'll do the same thing on the other side.
I love those crimpers. Yeah. The way they turn it into a bead. That's very cool.
It's really nice. It's very handy. It just like looks like just like it's meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I'm making like nothing. It's been a while since I've done this. No, it is not true. You can see that I used the beaded beads on either side of that in the center, which I really like the way that looks. And then I also, incorporated some seed beads just to fill some space in there. And, part of designing with stringing is working with the positives and negatives of what you've got, right? So I wanted to go then do this little section here with the end caps, but the end caps have really big holes, and I was putting it right next to the seed beads, and it started swallowing up the seed beads a little bit. So perfect design moment. Throw another bead in there that's going to be a separator between the seed beads and that end cap, and it works great. So you just so there's a little problem solving that goes on.
I find
there's always problem solving.
Sometimes problem solving leads to my best designs, like things that I wouldn't have imagined I was going to sit down and make. I'm like, oh, this looks totally different than what I imagined, but it works really well.
For sure. This is very fun. I'm having a blast here.
I know. It's so nice. Isn't it nice just to bead with someone? I mean, I just really miss that. I miss the community for sure, but I think by doing things like this regularly, I will start feeling a little more connected again with everybody.
Yeah.
Trying to get my toggle in.
Fight that sucker. There you go.
Oh, I love it. I love that green. Oh my gosh.
I know. This is so your color, Kristen. We're getting more, so you can get one. You didn't pick the green. Which colors did you pick? The turquoise?
Well, because the two that I had picked to bring in were the beige and the turquoise. So I was like, I guess I'll take those.
You have to get those ones.
But I do want the other two too.
Well, we're getting more, so you can order the other two.
I'm gonna have to get the other two also.
They're really pretty.
Sure, like me owning a bead store now is that it's all online, but I enjoy buying for other people just as much as I enjoy buying for myself. I mean, I just get just as excited and get my little heart pumping and all that kind of thing. So, but you can be a little dangerous then, because then you're like, oh, I'm buying it for them. No, really,
that's Mike's problem. Yeah, that's Mike's problem. Totally. I get that. We do like it because we, Kristen and I get to pick some things to bring in, and it is fun to pick things that we want to design with that we hope other people will enjoy as well. And that's definitely these ammonite beads. We were like, we love these.
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Yeah. But I'm sure other people will like them too. And then they matched our theme this month of Serenity Shores too. So that helped a whole lot.
And I feel the same way about Tiara Cast. I always love looking at all their stuff too. Like, what are we going to bring in? And I've had I worked at a bead store prior to working with Softflex Company, and I have some Tiara Casts from them. And so that's like 20 years ago, and they still look like I would have just picked them up today. I mean, they are just amazing. Gorgeous.
And that's exactly why I chose to carry them in my store. I trust their quality so much. Plus, they've got such cool designs. I mean, some of the new clasps and things that they've come out with are just outrageously fabulous. Plus, they have now created a series of designs for bead weavers.
Yay, that's exciting.
Yeah, so different kinds of ends that you can actually sew into, and so we're not when I first started bead weaving, and one of my fellow beading teachers used to tell me, to make a living at this, you've got to sell them things. It's more than just the class. You've got to sell them things. And I'm like, great. What am I going to sell them? Needle and thread. That's all. That's what I've got. And
right.
Now here we are 15 years in, and we've got tools. Bead weavers have tools now. We've got cool tulip awls, and we've got specialized endings that they
all the other stuff.
Yeah, just for bead weavers. So we're not the sad little folks off to the side that everybody doesn't pay attention to. We are a real group.
You're a huge group.
Yes,
yeah,
we are.
I'd say the biggest part of beading is seed bead weavers.
So too.
I think I'm in the smaller minority of bead stringers at this point.
You said something earlier, and I just wanted to take you to task for it. You said that you consider soft flex, the beginner, the entry level things. I want you to know that when I need to go make something and I need to go string something, whose website do I go to? Whose Facebook page do I go to look at all the designs? Because you may be entry level, but you are incredible designers. And so you use things in a really unique way that I never would have thought of. And so we don't outgrow you. I just want you to know that.
Well, thank you. I guess my bigger point was I want to bring more people into the table and make it accessible for everybody, even if you're brand new, not that you shouldn't feel like this isn't something you can do, that get something simple like a complete kit and a couple tools and you can get started, and it's not a huge expense, and it'll hopefully build into something really beautiful as time goes on. But thank you so much, Jill. I really appreciate that, because we do work very hard, even though our designs are more simple than a beautiful bead woven design that we'll see on your YouTube page. We do work very hard to put out content on a pretty regular basis.
You guys rock. That's all
very
I have
regular
to say.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I have to give a big shout out and thank you to Kristen for being here, because she actually threw out her back this weekend. And so she's been in and out the last 2 days, and she made it a priority to be here for this Zoom. So I really appreciate that, Kristen, and appreciate everything you do.
I've been standing the whole time because it's just not comfortable to sit. So I've made myself like I don't have a
standing
stand.
desk.
I think I might need to get one. But I propped up my computer and I'm standing and doing a lot better in that position than sitting at my desk.
Gosh.
Happy to be here. I'm really happy to meet Jill in person. I've never gotten a chance to meet up with you in person, Jill. So I wanted to for sure be here and of course see everybody. I love doing this, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So thanks for spending some time with us today, Jill. And we'll look for the video that you're going to make with the beaded beads.
Yeah.
And see what you end up completing as time goes on here.
So I didn't get very far, but it's cute, and I'm definitely going to wear it. As a matter of fact, and that's the thing about this colored soft flex. You know what? It may be done.
You don't even have to go all the way up, right?
That's what I say all the time. Like sometimes you don't need to use beads the whole way. Like you just see them in the front. Like it's okay to.
Then I can make even more projects with this fabulous mix. So. Yeah,
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm right with you.
So we'll look forward. To that. Cool. Love you too. M. Jane says they love me. Tell me to feel better. Love you guys too. Nile did have to jump out, but he wanted to remind everyone to check out his Tuesday Toot over on Silver Silk at 3:30 today, and that is 3:30 Pacific time. So join him over on Silver Silk. And then, Jill, you think you're going to have a beaded design up later today, or should we look for it tomorrow? Or
it will probably be late today, and so for sure tomorrow, but later today would also. And then I also have a new YouTube video that's going to launch tomorrow.
I saw that. Those are so cute.
Earrings.
I love the color pattern.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
So
okay, Kristen and I are going to be Kristen and I are going to be quiet for 2 minutes, so it'll actually show you on the screen.
It's hard. Yeah. So there's going to be a bunch of different designs for the little triangle area. And so this is the video that's going to launch for the bead weavers tomorrow. But you know what? This is a beginner level project. This is not difficult to do. And I'm looking at
I might have to try that
guys.
one. I really like that colorway on the. I like
Yeah.
both of them, but I really like that
I do too.
particular one. So, do you? Is this a kit or do you sell the parts and pieces?
Both. So you can either buy it as a kit. Right now, the kits are not up yet. That's one of the things I'm doing tonight. Gonna work a little late.
Always.
Yeah. And then if you want to do your own colors, like this is another colorway. I was trying to go outside my normal color selection there.
That's pretty.
But the little triangles here, I do sell those on my website. So if you want to go with your own colors. And so in addition to the video that shows you how to do this, there's going to be a free PDF download that shows you all the different designs and walks you through it.
I love geometric shapes. So the triangles are just like perfect.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things that I've made in quite a while. So I'm excited.
How many videos do you have? Do you know? Do you have a count on them?
Over 150.
Oh my God.
Bet we're going to be stepping that up a lot in the next year.
With your new studio.
With the new studio. And also I've been kind of distracted by running around the world, China, Italy, Czech Republic, whatever. So now I'm staying home more and concentrating more on videos. Plus I've added staff, which allows me to spend more time creating content because that's always the big thing.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can check back in with you maybe early next year, and we can have another chat, see how things are going,
and
what new things have happened. Because it is so nice to see you, and it's nice to be able to bead with you and just spend time together.
I love it. You guys are some of my favorite people in the world. I miss you too.
And I should point out, Jill does sell soft flex, so you can get your soft flex on her website, jillwisemandesigns.com, along with all the fabulous seed beads. And she does a lot of really amazing kits to go with her videos too. So again, if you're a beginner bead weaver, she's a great place to start because she gives fantastic instruction. And then she often has kits that make it really easy to get all the parts and pieces without having to do a lot of thinking or have a lot of knowledge about what you're doing.
Yeah, kits are definitely the way to go for beginners.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, thanks, Jill. It was so good to see you today. And don't forget, guys, on the Softflex Company website, you can get the Spice Market Design Kit while it lasts, the Spice Market Bead Strand. We have those new Ammonite beads. And for today only, when your order's over $49, you get $5 off. When your order's over $69, you get $10 off. And when your order's over $99, you get $20 off your order at softflexcompany.com. So definitely go over there and enjoy that. Thanks for joining us today, Jill and Kristen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Feel better, Chris.
Yeah. I know. I look better than I feel.
You look great. Yeah. I was going to get off here and be like, there's nothing wrong with you.
I know.
You're just fine.
It is more important to look marvelous than it is to feel marvelous.
Right.
Some days you gotta fake it. You gotta fake it till you make it.
Right. So true. All right. Well, I'm gonna go shut off. And Kristen, if there's any last comments that you want to share, go for it.
Sure.
I'll be
lots of thank yous from a lot of people. I did have someone ask a question, Jill. What color triangles do you have for that design?
Good question. We've got rhodium look plated, so basically silver, and we've got the gold plated, and then we have a small amount of bronze, antique bronze.
Ooh, that's always my favorite. I love antique bronze.
I do too. I'm going to try to get more of those antique bronze in.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see, such a great show. Everyone says lots of fun. Thank you guys for being here. Be well. So thank you. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and chat with our community. And it's been really fun to get to know you and your story and all of your beading goodies.
Well, thank you very, very much. And thank you, everybody out there, for joining us. I kind of made a mess, but it's a cute mess.
It looks great. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.